Hey, what's going on guys? Garden Shed here and welcome! Before we get into today's video, I just want to say I'm sorry there are so many off the bike videos at the moment. I'm having real problems with my helmet camera picking up static and it's either these sorts of videos or not making any content for you guys at the moment while I'm trying to sort of work out where the problem is. I've tried relocating the mic in the helmet. I've also just wired in a new mic, so I'll have a go at that. If not, it might be the action camera, which is not ideal at this current moment in time, but one of those things. So unfortunately I was hoping to either have another Great Rides route for you, which I went and recorded, which was absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately I'm gonna have to go back and redo it all over again. And also there was a group ride up to the Lincolnshire Wolds with the Hepcats and Cyanide Babe and One Wolf Rider. Again, everything's covered in static. So what I'd like to do today is do a video on reducing fatigue and increasing comfort on long motorcycle journeys. So a little bit about me. If you're not used to the channel, I've been riding for about 5 years. I have a V-Strom 650 and I cover about 10,000 miles a year. Doesn't seem a huge amount, but I don't commute to work on it and I probably only ride maybe once a week. When I do ride, it tends to be on average somewhere between about 100 to 250 miles a day. I'm happy up to about just short of 400 miles and then it starts getting a bit grueling. But I realised that lots of people don't ride those sorts of distances, and so I thought I'd put together a little bit of a video explaining some of the tips and tricks and things that can really help you along the way. First thing that I'd like to talk about is kit. So kit can massively impact your levels of comfort. It can also massively reduce fatigue. For example, if you're riding in 30-degree heat, 20-30 degrees in a rain suit, you're going to be like a boil in a bag. Your vision's going to be all over the place and you're going to get tired really quickly as you dehydrate. Now what I've done with over the years is sort of I've refined it to get a best of my kit, and the jacket that I typically favour throughout most of the year is this. It's an RST ventilator jacket. Now what's fantastic about it is a waterproof textile jacket. It is good for anything up until absolutely torrential rain, but then a lot of kit is going to get you wet in that. However, the distinct difference is the waterproof liner itself here actually zips out. So I've unzipped it that side, so you can see it zipped in that side. Now that is a huge boost, especially when you're touring and you're away for multiple days. So not only does it have the removable liner, once the liner's out, all the black panels are mesh. You can almost see through them. It's a ballistic grade mesh and it allows a really good airflow. So I absolutely love that jacket, and the reason for me why I love it is if it's cold I can put in the waterproof and the thermal liners. If it's really hot I can take both those liners out and I have the breathability of mesh coming through, which is fantastic. So it offers a real versatility in terms of a jacket. It offers decent protection. I think it's got level 2 armour throughout. I've certainly upgraded mine to level 2 throughout. In all weathers it's fantastic. The only downside I have found is in torrential rain you will start to get wet. So it means when it's cold I can stay warm, when it's hot I can stay cool, when it's wet I can stay dry. So I think versatile kit is a really good thing, because moderating your own temperature means that you can reduce your fatigue and massively increase comfort. I mean, we've all been there where we've been in full waterproofs or whatever on a boiling hot day and you basically feel like one of those boil in a bag chickens. Not only are outside layers important, inside layers are also really important. Any sort of bulky clothes underneath can make you feel like the Michelin Man. It can limit movement, it can make you feel too hot, you can be too cold. So like a lot of people do, under my textiles I used to wear a t-shirt and jeans. I hated wearing shorts because I felt that my textile trousers sort of, if it got hot, my textile trousers would stick to my leg, which I really didn't like. Now there's lots of things you can do. Merino wool seems to be a popular one, base layers, things like that, which are fantastic, but they have one downside, which is if you're off the bike and you're not, you want to go and walk around somewhere, you still have to walk around with all your clubber on. So for that reason I go for a much cheaper alternative than merino wool layers. These are my £15 Mountain Warehouse hiking trousers. They're really breathable in a strong windy day. You can feel the wind coming through them. But the important thing is, throughout them, they don't have big bulky cuffs at the end of the legs. On the back side, they don't have bulky seams, pockets, or anything with buttons on, etc. that can dig into you. And so the thin material and really lightweight seams makes a massive difference. You don't have things rubbing against your leg. You don't get any pressure points. So for example, when I was riding in jeans, I used to find the cuff would dig into my leg. You don't notice it at first so much, but as the miles progress, slight irritation becomes an ache. Then that ache becomes a pain. And by the time you get off, it is bright red, you've got an indent in your skin, and it really hurts. With something like these, you don't get that. But also, the benefit of it is, it's normal trousers. So, if you want to stop somewhere and wander off the bike, all you have to do is take off your textiles, and you've got clothes on underneath. Perfect. Likewise, I do the same with t-shirts. If it's cold, I will wear a normal t-shirt. But the majority of the year, I wear these, which again is a lightweight, moisture wicking t-shirt with very little seams. And if I hold it up to the camera, so you can see just how breathable this material is. So you get a nice airflow, combine it through with a mesh jacket, and you stay cool. So when I was in Europe, most days it was over 25 degrees. The extreme was on the way back, coming through France in 42. But I still got airflow through my clothes, which was fantastic. Really, a real lifesaver. It made such a difference. So something that massively reduces tiredness is earplugs. Now I wear pinlock earplugs, and I've made videos on the virtues of it, saving your hearing, etc, etc. However, the main difference with earplugs comes when you're covering distance. By drowning out the high volume sound, it makes you feel much less fatigued. The sound of wind and traffic and things like that can get quite tiring, especially on a long journey, especially if it's quite a monotonous journey. So if you say on a motorway, just cruising at the same speed, that constant is quite a wearing sound. Whereas with earplugs, you can still hear, with filtered earplugs, which is why I wear these, I can hear people to talk to, etc. I can hear the sounds around me, unlike foam ones that can block out all the sound. But it blocks out that harmful sound. And I've noticed I can cover much more distance with earplugs than I can without. Now, I'm lucky that I have an adventure bike, which means there's lots of luggage options and lots of top boxes and things like that. One thing that can massively increase stress on your body is by having something on your back like a backpack. The straps dig in, the weight compresses you down, you're constantly trying to fight it, sit up, etc. So it's adding more weight for you to fight against. I mean, I would always try and avoid wearing something on your back if you can do. If you are going to, and you're going to be doing long distances, I would highly recommend investing in a decent motorcycling backpack. So the difference between most backpacks and a motorcycling backpack is often, especially with the Krieger system, the way it spreads the weight. Bags like Krieger backpacks, they have this harness system on them, and what it does is it removes some of the stress out of your shoulders and puts it into your chest, where you're more easily able to cope with the weight, and it decreases the stress put on your shoulders and increases your comfort, so you don't get off with your shoulders killing at the end of it. So my next set of riding tips is to do with the route you pick. We all know if you've been on the motorway on a bike, especially covering distance, it gets very boring. Once the boredom sets in, it's easier for you to feel fatigued. What I'd highly recommend you do is, if you're trying to get somewhere by day, is try and mix motorway with more interesting roads. That way you have some of the progress of a motorway, being able to go at motorway speeds, but also break it up a little bit. Go off the beaten track. You know, if you're going along a motorway and it goes up and then there, maybe just go up a little bit and then cut across and then go like that. It just gives you a little bit of a section to break it up. Get out of the boredom, get your brain re-engaged, and it helps stay off any fatigue. When you're riding, obviously regular breaks are important, so make sure you carry snacks and drinks with you. I tend to take chocolate or things like flapjack, which is seriously good source of energy. However, the downside is, depending where you store it on said bike, it can melt. When you start feeling tired, just pull over, have 5 minutes to have a drink of water or a fizzy drink, whatever, munch on a chocolate bar, stretch your legs for a bit. Again, You know, once you're sat in the saddle and all pent up for hours on end, your knees get a little bit stiff, your arms get a little bit stiff. And by getting off, just having a walk around, having a snack, having a drink, it massively increases the distance that you can do comfortably without feeling tired. It's all about knowing your body. When you get tired, at which point you need to stop, which point you think, right, okay, 5-minute break will do me. Okay, tell you what, maybe I'll stop an hour for lunch. So the final thing I want to do is all about speed. Logic would dictate if you go fast, you get there sooner and everything's fine. There's no issues at all. However, through personal experience, I've found I can cover much more distance sitting at 70 miles an hour on a motorway than I can do sitting at 80. And the reason is, it's just that extra blast on your head, on your chest, that can massively increase the amount of fatigue. Realistically, by dropping the speed by 10 miles an hour, you're going to add, I don't know, maybe another hour onto your journey. However, you'll be much less tired when you get there compared to if you sit at 80 the whole way. You know, changing your speed slightly as well can help with breaking up the monotony of something like a long stretch on the motorway. Ideally, I try and avoid motorways. I really don't like riding them. I find them boring as anything. I'd much rather take longer, use country roads or dual carriageways. By dropping your speed, it decreases the amount your head's getting knocked around, any turbulent air, it reduces strain on your neck, on your back as you're trying to force into the wind, especially on a naked bike where there's not much protection. The final thing that I want to talk about is the bike itself, and it depends very much on the type of bike that you ride. There's various modifications you can do to be able to reduce stress. Reducing stress is massively important to increasing your comfort level and reducing your fatigue. Common one you see on tourers, adventure bikes, is people fit bigger screens. The whole idea between adding a screen is changing the airflow. What you don't want to have is airflow hitting you square in the head, especially the turbulent air, because it'll make your helmet shake, makes your neck hurt trying to keep it stable, and just disorientates you in general, which in itself can be very tiring. So there's two sort of thought processes behind that. Either you can increase the screen level so the turbulent air goes over the top of your head, or you can decrease the screen level so it hits your chest. And it's very much down to the type of bike as to which one works best and cosmetically which one looks alright. So on a sports bike, for example, on the motorway, the air is actually incredibly calm. Although you're pent up and everything, you don't have a huge amount of air hitting you in the face, and because that screen's much shorter, you have the fairing around you. Whereas on a naked bike, you're getting hit straight in the chest, straight in the head. So for example, I've found with adventure bikes, it's better to have a taller screen than a shorter screen to reduce that turbulence, to move that airflow over your head. But on something like a sports bike, it's better to have a short screen than a tall screen. There are lots of groups on Facebook for dedicated bikes, so you can find out what people are using, what works and what doesn't work. For example, I know from being a member on a V-Strom forum that the V-Stroms have a massive issue. They've got the big square mirrors. I'll pop a picture up, and that creates a huge amount of turbulence. Now, a lot of people on V-Stroms change the mirrors to more angular ones so the airflow goes over them more smoothly and creates less turbulence. Sort of a diamond shaped one, I think they're about £5 each. You don't have to spend big money, but it's those little differences that can massively change it. Another thing that can be tiring on a bike is vibrations through the bars, through the pegs. Once your arms start hurting and things like that, going fizzy, it massively increases your fatigue levels. So again, another cheap modification that you can do is put some heavier bar end weights into the ends of the bars, and this will decrease the vibrations. If you find you're quite hunched over and you want to be more upright, fit some bar risers, lift the bars up, and that way you'll be putting less stress on your back, on your shoulders, on your elbows, wrists, etc. There's lots of affordable modifications that can be done very easily to your bike to be able to make it more comfortable. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sorry once again there isn't an on the bike video, but if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments section. Also, if you have any additional ideas or thoughts on what you do to reduce fatigue and increase your comfort, leave it in the comments section. Use it as a resource to help people in future. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching and take care.